This is the 1817 mill here in Spring Mill, Indiana. I'm Darren, and this is the Industrial Revolution. So we're standing outside the newly restored mill here in Spring Mill, and we're just about to see it get fired up. They run this through the summer, every hour on the hour. They actually start up the mill process inside, and we'll go inside in a minute. But now let's take a look as we wait for them to actually start up the wheel. We're actually a bit early, so let's take a closer look at the outside while I tell you about the mill's past. The original, smaller, two-story mill was built in 1814, but that one only lasted a few years before being replaced with this larger mill in 1817. As is often the case, the mill attracted people to the area with a sawmill, wool mill, a distillery, and even a stagecoach overnight stop being built around it. This all happened pretty quick, but the downfall happened nearly as quickly. With the railroads coming into the area in the 1950s, business dropped and the mill ended up being abandoned in 1892. Well, we still have a few minutes before they start the wheel again, so let's take a short walk. Just across the stream from the mill is a trail which you can follow up along the stream. It's a short, easy walk through the scenic park up to where we rejoin the wooden sluice at the dam which holds back the pond just below Hamer Cave, which is the source of Spring Mill's water.
Coming for some reason.
So, a little bit about the mill. What we got the cave up there. It's got water coming out of the Hamer Cave down the flume. As it comes down, it's going to the sluice gate up in front of the water wheel. We control that gate with a lever back here on the wall. Water goes over the big wheel. As it turns these gears. It will put out 25 horse. About 25,000 foot-pounds of torque. It goes through these gears. There's 5 more gears in the basement. It comes back up through the shaft here in the stones. What we got up here is corn in the hopper. Falls down into what they call the shoe. That shoe vibrates, or what they call the shaker handle on that shoe, vibrates on that shaft coming up called a danzel. As it vibrates it down, we got a crook string. I can control my flow of corn with that crook string that's attached to the end of the shaker handle by raising it up and down. Sometimes you might be grinding and you hear it speed up a little bit and you don't want to try to adjust your water. You use your crook string to add more corn or less corn to it to speed it up or slow it down. Corn goes into the eye of the stone. As it does, the upper stone is the only one that turns. The bottom stone or bed stone does not turn. It comes out the front here. Each stone weighs 3,000 pounds. It will put out 600 pounds of cornmeal an hour. We tested it about 4 or 5 years ago, the woodworker and I. We put 150 pounds in the hopper and then emptied it in 15 minutes, so we know it will do 600 an hour. Comes down into the mill box, we scoop it up, put it up here in a box, and we bag it. So this here is my tinnery gear here in the floor. What it does, it raises and lowers my upper stone. I can raise it up to make a coarser grind, lower it to make a finer grind. Right now we got it 2 turns up so that when it takes off there's less stress and less on my stones and gears. So, any questions? We'll fire it up here and grind about 10 or 12 pounds. So we'll grind some here and make sure nobody's out here that don't want to get wet.
Daddy, can we buy a bag?
All right, get ready. Here comes the water.
Once the water starts flowing and the stones start turning, we adjust the tinnery gear to lower the top stone to the right height.
Probably somebody in 30 saying, keep your nose to the grindstone. A lot of people think that means for the
Just look how fast that stone is turning. You usually don't get a chance to actually see it. The huge horizontal shaft to the right is the axle, which is directly connected to the water wheel. It and the water wheel and sluice outside were all just replaced in the last couple of years to keep the mill running. Wooden parts like this, which are exposed to water, require regular replacement for mills. You can see the corn slowly dribbling into the eye of the stone. That's the speed the miller was talking about adjusting. More corn will slow down the wheel, and less will let us speed up. I really love those lantern gears and pinions. Lots of mills use belts and pulleys, but I think I like these more. I didn't yet know how much more of these I get to see soon. Be sure to stick around for that part. As he turns the water off, you can see the mill very slowly grind to a stop.
Extra corn in there to slow it down a little quicker and fill in. You allow that to happen. If you let it run out of corn completely or grain, it will get hot enough to catch on fire. So, corn dust is not as bad as wheat dust. Wheat dust is a little bit more volatile than your corn dust. But every night at 4:30, after I shut the doors, we use a new modern equipment, fancy equipment called a leaf blower. We blow all the dust out. So.
This heavy arm with a threaded piece of metal in it is part of the winch mechanism, which is used to lift up the top stone to redress as needed. But what about this belt conveyor behind it? Grain is dumped into the large hopper on the left, and the gate is opened to let the grain pour into the auger, which feeds that belt to automatically feed the hopper.
We don't turn it on very often because that's how it would work.
Just as we were about to leave, we were called back by the miller and offered an opportunity to check out the basement. Never going to turn that down, obviously. The public is never allowed down here for pretty obvious reasons. Keep your head down. It's pretty low down here.
Looks like a
floods down here sometimes.
It does not.
No?
Nope.
There's Grist then?
Yep. Nope, does not flood.
So does this set of gears complement the set of gears upstairs then?
Yeah, what it does, it comes over, comes down here, then turns this, and it turns this, then it turns that gear up there.
Okay.
So is there a gearing ratio, or is it
That's about 10 to 1.
about 10 to 1? Mm-hmm. So the stones are about 10 times faster?
Yeah, each one of the, what they call the lantern gear or wallower gear is stepped up a little bit more.
Right.
How often do you have to replace the teeth and everything?
How?
How often?
I've been there 6 years and we haven't replaced any.
Yeah, if they don't hit hard, so there's some wear on them, but if they don't hit hard, they last a long time.
We grease them every day too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we keep it all greased up.
So this is grease. I thought this was a dust.
Yeah.
This is a grease then.
Yeah, it's a white lithium grease.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
This was really cool, and I thought we were done, but
I'll tell you what, come back down here a minute. Now, are you up there, Bill?
Yeah.
If you two will stay there.
all right.
Turn it on, turn it off, keep it in gear.
Keep it in here.
Yep.
Alright.
This is a part very few get to see.
Cool.
Comes the water.
Yeah, go ahead and turn it off.
You can hear the stones grinding a bit above as they slow down.
That's why we don't let too many people down here.
Yeah. Yeah.
That actually comes over.
Before we go back up, this is how you adjust the millstone spacing. Turning that wheel upstairs moves this really long lever, and the top, or runner stone, is sitting on the far end, balanced on this metal rod supported by this little pin at the bottom. The miller turns the wheel, and it moves the lever up and down to raise and lower the stone. Shaft up to the runner. Yep. You probably noticed this shed off to the right of the building earlier. In 1823, a sawmill was built here, sharing the water supply with the grist mill. Sawmills and grist mills were often built together, since the technology was pretty much the same, as were the power requirements. Although this is unusual, and that the sawmill was usually built first, then the wood from that sawmill used to build the grist mill and other buildings. The original sawmill here could produce 2,500 board feet per day. Combined with 600 pounds of flour per hour from the grist mill, this mill could generate some serious income, at least until the railroad showed up. You can see it's still missing some pieces, and it's not working yet. But unlike most sawmills you've probably seen, this is what's called a sash mill, using an up and down sawing motion instead of using a circular saw, which is more common. This is an older technology, but it still works fine. We can see the sled is in place and the sash or gate with the saw blade installed. Around the back, we see the small vertical water wheel. It's small, but keep in mind that pipe has probably 30 feet or a 10-meter drop on it, so there's a lot of power in there. The second pipe then goes onto the platform. What's going on down there? Can't see much here. That's better. Looks like the water wheel powers the sash up and down to do the actual cutting. You can see the crank on the end of the axle, which is connected to the sash. That actually moves the sash up and down to do the sawing. What's the other pipe, though? You can just barely catch a glimpse of it here. It goes to a tub, which will have a horizontal water wheel installed in it. I assume that will then power the sled to move back and forth when it's done. In the late 1920s, Spring Mill was made into a state park, but it was in bad shape. Aside from the basic building repairs, some information was nearly lost to time. To determine the size of the original wheel, for example, all they had was this fragment of the last one in use. Fortunately, some of the other elements of the mill were still intact, such as the original millstones, which were imported from France, as well as some of the gears, for example. Make sure you keep your eye on that big wooden lever on the side of the building. They're just about to start this up. Anyway, in the 1930s, with the help of the Civilian Conservation Corps, which is a group that I'd really love to see working again before long, they did do a lot of restoration work here. They got this mill working again. The buildings that surround it, which they call the Pioneer Village, they restored some buildings. They moved some other buildings here in order to create that Pioneer Village, to get that opened up. So we have more than just the mill to see here today. Plus, this is a really nice nature park here as well. But with all that work that was done by the CCC and by the state and by staff and volunteers here in the park, the mill is operational today. You can come and see it, and it's part of Spring Mill State Park today, and it's also a part of the Industrial Revolution. Hey, wait a second before you go. I really need your help. I love coming out here and filming on location and bringing you all of this great stuff, but it is expensive. So I need you to help me grow the channel, and the easiest way to do that is just hit like. You know, it's easy, it's quick, costs nothing. Hit like on the video if you haven't already. If you can subscribe and hit notify, YouTube will let you know when I have new stuff coming out. Also, share the video with your friends, share it on social media. Let's spread the word. Also, if possible, if you can help me out financially, that would be great. It is not cheap coming out here and making these, aside from the fact that I'm spending many hours researching and editing videos. I do have travel costs that I need to cover. So best ways to do that, you can help out on Patreon. It's patreon.com/Industrial Revolution, or just hit the super thanks button on YouTube. That works too. Finally, something I've just set up recently. I do have an affiliate store. Right now it's just through Amazon. If you hit the shop link on either the end screen, which is probably up on the screen right now, or on the video description or the channel description, they'll take you over to my webpage. I do have some live steam engines there, some hand grain grinding equipment there. But if you follow that link over to Amazon, for example, anything you put in your cart, even if you don't buy the thing on the link, the channel will get a percentage of the entire cart purchase. And that's really going to help me a lot. It's going to help me keep making these videos, keep bringing them to you. So thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you next week.